Computer. Hello and welcome to the What's the Craic Bodybuilding podcast. So this is the first episode of something that hopefully we're going to run for quite some time. Essentially what I want to do here, as I talked about in the intro, is sort of highlight the Irish bodybuilding scene, both north and south of the border. There's a huge amount of talent. In my opinion, we're not getting a lot of exposure. So that is my goal, is to bring some of the best talent, you can see sitting here, to your ears, and hopefully we'll get more guests in as we go. So first guest in the first episode is Nadia Long. And Nadia, I'll let you introduce yourself. I appreciate you coming on.
Thanks very much. So yeah, I'm Nadia Long. I'm 23. I skate and I'm a bodybuilder. Sometimes feel like you're not allowed to say that yet or something. You have to
Earn the right.
work your way up. Yeah.
I'm calling myself it, so you can definitely call yourself it.
I don't know, see, nothing as bikini girls, you do have a level of muscle mass and stuff like that. But whenever I was a bikini girl, people were like, "Are you a bodybuilder?" I was like, "No."
When is it okay to call yourself a bodybuilder?
I don't really know. Maybe once I'm Nikki Beatty or something like that.
She'll love that.
once I get to her stage, I don't know. I feel like a lot of people like, okay, yeah, you're a bodybuilder if you go to the gym and you train and stuff like that, but a lot of people do it for one day and they're like, I'm a bodybuilder, and I'm like, right,
No,
okay.
I get that. I think there has to be earn the right. I struggled with it for a while as well, but now I've just embraced it and going with it now.
Yeah, there has to be something. There has to be something. You can't go to the gym for a month and call yourself a bodybuilder,
Until you earn the pro status, you're not going towards that route.
It's kind of, for me, I'm top 6 in the world of bodybuilders. I'm joking, but I mean, there has to be a level. I don't know. There has to be a level. Do you know what I mean?
You're just a trainee, but how did your
I feel like
training?
this was not a good way to start. I'm
Just
just
slag
came
people off
on.
and state
I'm
yourself.
just slammered.
That'll be a good way it runs then. So generally, how did you start with training? Because you did mention you done bikini as well. Obviously, you're not bikini anymore by the looks of things. So
No, so I've always trained. I was a gymnast growing up, and I've just always been in it. Snuck to the gym from I was 14, used to pretend I was 16, changing my date of birth and all. I've just always loved it. I've always been in it. And I actually had really bad skin whenever I was younger, so I started in Olympus gym where I actually started PTing, and I was just training there, and that was my kind of breathing space. I feel like that I was on I don't know if you've ever heard of Roaccutane. It's a really harsh medication for skin, and it can kind of send your head away. So that's how I really kind of got into training. From there, it was my breathing space, and I loved it. And then I met Matt in Olympus, and he was competing, and I was like, nah, that's not for me. I love chocolate, and I do love chocolate, and I'll never not love chocolate. I'm a foodie through and through. And he was doing these shows and stuff, and he was like, you should do it. And I was like, I don't think I should, no. And then sure, I started, and here we are now.
you have quite a decent physique growing up. Did you stand out a little bit away from your friends as well once you did start training?
I would have, yeah. I always had a little bit of a delta and a little bit of muscle, and it never would have been fat.
And did you then start in bikini? Was your first show? When was your first show? What was that experience like for you?
So my first show was 2021. I was bikini. I done that completely natural. I didn't use any fat burners, no assistance, absolutely nothing. I was coaching with JP Crean. Do you know Crean, his wife? I was coaching with her at the time, and she was fantastic. But that prep really showed me what it takes. Because I did do it completely natural, and there wasn't even the no fat burners or nothing like that in plan. It was 2.5 hours cardio daily. It was 700 calories, and I was it was crazy, but it was a good way to start. It
I
was
think the hard prep at the start always teaches you a few things. It kind of sets up, I think, your mentality. I think everybody's been through one of them preps where it's holy fuck. Do you know what I mean?
yeah.
Going forward, it's not as bad as that prep.
Yes. I always try and tell my clients that too. I'm your first prep is an outer body experience. It's what is going on here? That low energy and stuff like that. But yeah, so I did my first prep with her, and then was pregnant a couple of months later, and then had Ezra, and then done a photo shoot prep, and then 6 months after having him, I tried to do wellness. It was not wellness in any way, shape, or form. I'm one of those people that everyone should be why did you do that? Like, why did you do that?
Make
Like,
yourself fit the class, really trying to make yourself fit in the class rather than actually doing the class that you
I
think.
love it. And I think it is the most beautiful class. And I wish that my genetics kind of went that way. But I have no patience. Like, I have no patience. Like, me trying to do wellness would mean I couldn't compete for probably another 3 years. And I'm
Yeah.
like,
But
"Uh-uh."
for you, like obviously you had the baby as well. It's only I seen him at the show on Sunday, running about absolutely mad.
Mental.
So that
Mental.
takes a lot of like your energy. But like, how did that become? Like, how did you decide? Right, I'm going to then push on as much muscle as I can after that bikini show. Was bikini not for you, or did it just kind of come as it went?
I think even in my first bikini show, my upper body would have been a little bit more dominant than bikini. To be perfectly honest, I would almost say like, not that I wasn't too big, but you could tell like my delts in my back was a bit more. But I think that comes down to gymnastics and always have trained,
Yeah,
So it was just
if
kind
you
of like a
have that feeling, do you?
natural.
It's there. It was always there to kind of come on. Did you
It
win the
was always
show?
going to be like a natural transition,
You
for
win
me.
that show?
Yes.
Yeah, so it was obviously you were all right at it then. Obviously, what was that in
Yeah.
PCA?
No, that was two bros. That was the last regional of the year. I done first timer, junior, and my class, and I won all three of them.
Well, I mean, obviously, I seen you like at bikini level, and then obviously, I seen you were having a child. Like
Hmm.
from that, like how did you go about sort of stacking on that much tissue in that period of time, especially obviously after just like being pregnant and having the cardiac child for 9 months?
So I trained the whole like I actually trained the whole way through my pregnancy. Like I actually the day I went into labor, I was in the gym that morning. So I obviously put on body fat, but I honestly would say I didn't lose muscle when I was pregnant because I was still doing 3 plates each side in the hack squat. I was still training as I would have at the
Yeah,
start, the first trimester, I just kind of took it a bit easy, like no overstretching, but after, and oh God, you wanted to hear people about that. Like, she doesn't even want her baby and this. And it's like, maybe you should not be a couch potato while you're pregnant. You would enjoy it a little bit more. Do you know?
I think that's it. Everybody has like that's something I want to touch on with you later a little bit is like the TikTok, like the judgment, because I've seen it on your Instagram as well. And that's
I,
one of the reasons I wanted you on actually to start with, because I think it offers a very different perspective on bodybuilding, especially as a young 23-year-old mother involved in the bodybuilding thing.
it's shocking. People are just so quick to say anything. And it's like, training is completely safe when you're pregnant if you have no complications. And it's so good for your mind because you can be a crazy bitch when you're pregnant. Like,
I could get away
those
with it.
those hormones are like next level, like emotions. Like every day I was like, I think Matt might be cheating on me. And then he was like, I've been with you all day. And I was like, that's true. That's true. The gym is just it's golden for everything in life, like, isn't
Yeah.
it? But
It's obviously like it helps. It's that break away from things. Like I think it's like once you're involved in it so heavily as well, like it's a massive part that's missing if you can't be
those
there.
endorphins, see if you're told to like deload for 4 days, I'm like,
I can't imagine you dealing with that. You were talking about your hour and a half on the stairmaster and all that side of things.
yeah.
What is the goal now? What is the goal now?
So the goal is now at the minute, I'm going to start dieting again in a few weeks time. And I'm just going to take it easy. I'm not saying I'm locking into prep or nothing like that. I'm not doing that again because it is really difficult prepping with the wee man now. Like, and it's only 2 years until he goes to school, and I don't want to like look back and be like, God, that was all about me. I was all about me, my prep. I want it to be all about him. And if I can do this, I will. I'm always going to be doing the same thing. I'm always going to be on plan. I'm always going to be training. So if I'm competing now or 2 years or whatever it'll be, that's what it will be. But like last year, whenever I prepped and whenever he was like in that 3 to 6 months, it was easy, like easy. Yes, you had those night feeds, but it was like you're just changing a bum, feeding a baby, and setting him down. He's going to sleep, or it was easy. See now, you look round, and the next minute he's on the sofa, or he's like trying to open all the doors, or I used to set him in his high chair, and he would have sat there for an hour, no problem, picking his way through bits of strawberries and whatever else. And now he's like trying to climb out of it in 10 minutes. And I'm like,
I've seen him on Sunday, like chasing protein bottles around. You were chasing after him as well.
do you know what I mean? It's like whatever makes you happy. Like he took someone's spoon off them at one stage and was just running. And I was like, he will give you it back. Like, just,
Interesting at a bodybuilding show, taking people's food like says.
I know. So
So
it's a wee
like,
bit crazy at the minute. Like it's a bit mental at the
you
minute.
had started a prep, hadn't you? And then like
I started too.
you're
I'm a
the
loser. I'm a
no,
loser.
that was this year, a few months ago, and it was
Yeah,
it.
so I started prep in January and I was supposed to compete in April. And that time. I think Matt wanted to compete in June, so I just says, do you know what? We'll prep together. I'm one of these people as well, I'm not gonna lie. Like I'm a foodie. Like see once prep's done, I'm getting fat. Like I've never done a rebound and I would love to do that. But I was like, if he's gonna be competing in June, I'll stay in shape by competing in June with him. So I was like, then I won't be a potato by then. So I was like, okay. So I pushed the shows back to June and then I was just dead. I was doing like 80 minutes cardio, finishing my steps on the Stairmaster. I wasn't being the mummy that I wanted to be. You know, like I was getting Ajay. Like say I was putting Azur's jammies on him and he was like kicking his leg out. I was like, Andrew, and
Yeah,
that's not the mummy I ever want to be. And like as a bodybuilder, like you know, those little things that agitate you, like you're easily agitated, and I'm like, this isn't the right time.
I
It
think
just
with
wasn't.
kids, it's still a hard process. But I don't have kids, and I can imagine because I know I'm sitting there tonight. The last thing I'll be doing is even talking or giving out emotion when you're getting to that point of leanness. Like it can be very self-absorbed and very selfish. And obviously, it's not an aspect you want to be as a mother.
It
You want
is.
to,
Yeah, and you know, you have to be all in. You have to be locked in. I'm never going to half-ass something. I'm never going to stand on stage when it can't be my best.
yeah,
So I'll be competing when I know that I can be my best. You know, say whenever he does go to nursery when he's that bit older and I can get everything done throughout the day and then the evening's all about him or whatever. I do have a nanny in at the minute 2 days a week, which is great and she loves him and but that's for me to get my work done because I'm so busy like with work at the minute too. So if I could prep through doing steps and like nutrition, that
yeah.
would be great.
I
That
mean,
would
your
be really
cardio
good.
was very high. You were on with the coach at the time as well. Was that like they prescribed you that amount that early on? Had they?
Yes, yeah, yeah. I've never been on that much so far, but I've also never been as lean as what women's physique or figure would be, you know. So,
Plan women's physique. Is that the goal, or I assume it is? Looking at you now.
do you know what? I absolutely love women's physique, and they get to do a routine. I just never thought I would be so. I would never thought I would have the muscle to do it. But yes, that is the goal. But I don't know if you've seen it the minute, like through IFBB. There's been a lot of people having, like the pros haven't been competing and stuff. So I don't know if that category is going to end up fizzling out or not.
I think it's a tough one because the shows are that little bit smaller as well with them, and then you get it's like because
Yeah,
what's the difference? Sometimes I think that's what they're at the minute between like female bodybuilding physique and actually like disparaging between the two. Like as far
and
as I
figure.
like
Yeah,
and figure as well, it's like
yeah.
some bigger girls look as big as the physique. It's just the conditioning aspect they're bringing. So
Exactly. Yeah, so I don't really know. So I think like when I do compete, it will if it's women's physique, it'll be that. If not, I'll have the heels on probably for figure. I don't think women's bodybuilding like
no,
I don't
I
think
yeah, it's a specific look, each to their own, as you know as well, like with the whole thing. But it's definitely a very much extreme side of things as well. You never know.
it is extreme. I do think women's physique is very pretty extreme. I don't know. Maybe it's I don't know. It's a little bit extreme, but I think it's more extreme in the conditioning side of things.
Yeah.
Do you or
I
I don't
fully
know?
agree. Obviously, you spoke about Nikki there as well, and I think like the reason she got her physique pro card, maybe rather than figure, is just a level of like pure condition that she brought to
Like
stage.
and she is still very feminine,
Yeah,
and you know, you wouldn't look at Nikki. Well, I wouldn't and go, Jesus, that's too big.
yeah. No, I
I personally wouldn't. Like, I think that is beautiful. You know, I think she's a great physique. Like, that is what I would love to be like. Like those glutes.
well, do you
What?
think compete against each other at some point this year?
I wouldn't say that. Like, I don't think that would ever be happening. I wouldn't want that to happen either.
No, I build that one up to some sort of rivalry at the press
No,
conference.
never. That would be more friendly.
How how is it with Matthew like competing obviously too? You know, because obviously Matt McCulloch, for those that don't know, your partners, you've been together quite a while as well, so you have a kid together. Like, how do you
Yes.
like prepping together for one, but then him prepping, you prepping at the same time?
Okay, so men can't cope as women do. Like, let's just put that out there.
Here,
No matter
here.
what you say, no harm. You know, and this is where it comes to as well. You know, like if we're both on prep, like trying to like get on that Star Master, trying to get your work done, stuff like that. Like he is pro, and I would love him go as far as he can. And if he says to me, I'm prepping, do you know, is it okay if you don't? 100%, that's no issue. Like as I said, I'll still be doing the same things. I do like prepping together, but and a lot of people don't, but I do love it because you feel the same way the other person feels. You know, if he wants to sit in that room and I want to sit in this room, that's fine, and we'll
Yeah.
not speak. Or but in off season, like I'm talk. It's like, no, give me attention, speak to me, like hug me, like prep. It's like if you just want to walk past me, like that's fine. So I feel like really emotional. Like if he's on prep and I'm not, I'm like, I like love. Like I like to feel
You
love.
need it then at that point.
Yeah, like whenever I was pregnant and he was prepping, I was like, I was so thankful that I'd done that first prep and I felt how that felt, or I'd have been like, oh, I don't think he wants to be with me,
I think I see that a lot as well. Like, I know it as well. Obviously, having a partner is like, if they haven't experienced it, they just think you're being a total dickhead. But then I suppose
Yeah,
you're trying to remind yourself constantly, don't be a dickhead, even though
because it's your
it's
decision.
a choice. Like I put
Yeah,
a couple together, and I thought it was going to be a good experience. But I think if they're not on the same wavelength, if there's any cracks
that's
in the relationship, they're going to show up pretty quickly during a
it
prep.
is true.
And it was one person was really into it. I felt the other was getting dragged along, and it just caused a lot.
Mm.
I'll say it is. They probably know, probably watching. So, like it really caused a lot of
Fuck
issues.
it.
I
Okay.
you started already anyway. You started off and you meant to go on, but yeah, I feel like that's like a big part of it. Like this year for me was like, okay, how can I kind of manage? Right, I want to be in good shape. I'm an amateur novice bodybuilder. At the end of the day, I don't want life to fall apart around it either. Like it potentially
Exactly. Yeah.
happens.
Yeah. No, I agree with you for sure. Yeah, there's no need for everything to fall around because at the end of the day, it is your decision, but it is hard. Like, there's no sugarcoating that. Like, and I don't even know how you're even like, you still have lines on your glutes. Like, that's mad.
I've no abs. I'd have lines on my glutes. I've the perfect beach body. I've got no abs and then lines on my glutes and quads.
But you lie, like, your
Yeah.
head's mush.
No, I know.
That
Listen,
is
I love it.
your
I know
body
it's
just
in
work.
good
Yeah.
shape. That's been the goal as well. It's like for me, it's obviously coaching as well. I wanted to show like, okay, how can we execute a rebound? Like even
That's
when
it.
doing the social media style stuff as well, it's trying to like leave example, like be proactive and stuff as well. Like
Hmm.
that's what bodybuilding has taught me. Like you've got to like take it, you've got to take full ownership. So if like I want
Yeah.
to then I got to do stuff like this and I enjoy it as well. Like I enjoy having these conversations. Like you're
So do I.
full-time online coach now as well, aren't you?
Full time work every single day.
Yeah, and it's a hard. I think people think, oh, it says me sitting in my living room,
Oh,
like it
it's
thinks
a,
it's hard work. Like
I know, and females are, oh dear
you've
God,
got
like
them
I
easier.
love
You've got
my
them easier.
clients. I love you all so much, and you are amazing. But your melters too, and I will tell you sometimes that, like, I do tell them, like, honest to God, I wrote someone out a plan last week. One apple, just see whatever apple you want, just keep it consistent, right? Let's just,
Yeah.
but green or red. I was like, listen, whatever color you want, just keep it like that. But I just, yeah, people are very demanding. Sometimes I think they're paying for a service and they should be in contact with you every single hour of every single day. And that's fine. If you have a question to ask, please ask. I love that you're into your program, but some people always overstep their boundaries, like,
I think that
always.
well, like I sort of talk about with ownership with it. I suppose it's like also set, like making those boundaries very, very
That's true.
clear. Like anything, it's like right, this is contact time. I am probably, especially when I was trying to grow that, there was a lot less boundaries. But I feel now, like I'm not sure about you, but as the client base is growing, it's like actually now I need to like manage that time and make it as
Yeah.
with everything.
Yeah, like I've put on my WhatsApp like messages after 7 will be responded to the next day.
Yeah,
But I'm still laying in bed responding to people at like 11. Like, you just find yourself
that's
doing it, don't you? Like, you try and pride yourself on a service that is like 24 hours, and it's like, I feel like with everything in life, there's a little bit of a sacrifice, like, if you, it's like, so every Sunday I'll like go out to walk with my mum, but it's like, if you pride yourself on a good service and someone texts you, you want to text them back, but also you want to be present, spending time with your family too, and it is a lot. It can be overwhelming trying to do this, and I don't think people understand that, because if you're an online coach, it's 24/7. You have to be in constant contact, and then if you are a bodybuilder and you're trying to do your cardio, then you're trying to prep your meals, and you're trying to go to the gym, and when you're in the gym, you got to make sure it's everything, because I mean, what's the point getting on stage and looking worse?
That's the one thing during the prep. I was like the training, like the phone was away, but then other times it did. Like I said, right, 7 o'clock cut off time, and you find yourself on. Like for me,
Exactly.
it helped during prep this year because last time was like a lot of one-to-one work, and my sleep. I was waking up at 3:30, but I was like, right, I just want to do all my check-ins now, and that might go. I wasn't
Yes.
sitting just in the darkness twiddling the thumbs. So I think from that perspective, it helped. But it's a lot harder than what people think, and the time and effort involved in even growing it and getting the results out there. Like that's the
Definitely. Definitely. I do agree, but it is a fantastic job and I love it and I feel so lucky to be in it and be so busy in it, especially like having a wee man at home, like,
yeah.
when he is farting about or whatever. Yeah. I do actually miss one-to-one sometime as well though, I must say.
A little bit with the right people. That's what I found.
Oh,
Yeah,
yes,
it's
yes,
like I think
yes.
with one-to-one, it can if it's not it's an hour of your time, and if you don't want to spend an hour with that person, not to be bitchy again, but that is the slowest hour of your fucking life.
It's do you know what? Like I can talk to anyone and I'll talk to you, but see when people are like, "Do you have a good weekend?" Yeah.
It's,
Um,
you're forcing the
did,
conversation, right?
did you
Like
have something to eat? Yeah. Right. Is there any exercises you like? No.
that's
And
me just everything. Just fucking go for the hour.
I'm
Yeah.
like 100 burpees, let's go.
No, I'd say yeah, it's mostly females as well as a lot of prep clients that you take.
Oh no, do you know I don't actually have a lot of prep plans at the minute? I mean, I would love that, but mine's mainly lifestyle, to be perfectly honest. I don't think people actually do think that, but I probably have about 10 to 15 competitors, and that's
Right?
it. And all the rest is lifestyle. And I have like males and females, maybe like holiday preps, photo shoot preps, want to put on a bit of muscle, just absolutely anything.
I think a bit of both's good because I found there the more prep
Yes.
I got, I was like, oh, this is actually it's demanding in a different way.
Oh,
There's that psychological,
100%.
both
Or
psychological, but they use their mind at
I
the
understand because you know what it's like yourself on prep, like you do freak out about the small
yeah,
stuff. Um, and especially having first timers and stuff like
yeah,
that. Like there's no like this is their first time doing everything. And like it's so different because whenever I coached with Crane doing my first show, it was like, there's your email, there's your plan for
yeah.
peak week. That's what you do. Now it's not like that at all. People have your WhatsApp number. I'm driving down to the gym and people's ringing me and all. Like, and it's like, it's mad. It is
I
madness.
had a phone call at 2:30 the other week in the morning now. In the morning, right? The guy was he's
In the
oh
morning.
yeah, yeah. I was like, I've just eaten an Easter egg. I thought, right, for one, I wish you'd have rang me before. If you're going to ring me, I have to ring me before you get the Easter egg at least. Do you know what I
Yeah.
mean? And there's
Let's not
this
talk
like
about it in the
Easter eggs are
system.
banned now. Like no one buy Easter eggs, and that's why anybody that sort of feels their diet during a prep always think they're storing up Easter eggs. I don't know where they get them from. You know,
Yeah. Not even joking. Matt actually got one for Azure last night. He must have got it for about 35p. And I was Smarties before bed, Matt.
it's,
Really?
it seems to be the thing. But yeah, no, obviously I can see your coaching going really well. Obviously, it's very active in socials as well, and what you're putting out there, and it is really good work with this sort of group of girls.
I actually don't even think I'm that active on social media. Like, I really don't. I wish I was a lot more. But see, by the time, like, you've replied to everyone, you've replied to Instagram messages, news starts, you're trying to sit and think of a post. I'm like,
I think it comes with practice. Like it's something I tried. Like this is again why I want to do the podcast to have that sort of conversation with people as well. But it's something I've been really proactive on because I think like for a start, my body didn't stand out as much at a time. So I had to sort of
right.
showcase results, etc. Now, definitely doing the prep, getting so lean has helped sort of showcase that side of things.
Mm-hmm.
It's
Yeah.
something it comes with practice. It's even like again when I would sort of mentor some coaches, and that's something like at least like a post every other day to at least showcase. So they get to know you, but this sort of thing as well very much helps.
Yeah, I like that. Like, I would like to start talking to the camera a bit more.
Yeah,
I can't do that. I just can't.
you
But
seem you're quite good at it.
do you think so? Oh,
Yeah,
I don't know.
I think what people buy into is real. I think you can see through somebody that's very much just putting an act on. You're quite clearly yourself, and you own that as well.
Uh, that's why I'm kind of like one extreme. You'll either love me or hate me. There's not like an in between.
And I
I've
mean,
never been that
that's probably
person.
that's what it should be. Like
Yeah.
I joined. I went to a business mentorship about 8 months ago, and it was the worst and the best thing I've done. The worst because it
Okay.
cost me a clean fortune, but also
Right.
the best because it taught me like what I didn't want to be and what I didn't want to do.
Ah,
Just the same, like it was just reading off a script, putting out the same post. It became very unauthentic, and I actually lost clients off it. Since I kind of turned my back on it and just went the other way, that's when I've seen like I feel more comfortable putting stuff out. Like when you talk to the camera, you talk to the camera and you come across well because you're yourself. You know, you can
what
see.
I do, I have to just do one take and post. Do you ever like redo videos and you're the fourth one in, and I'm like, I can't even post that anymore. I can't even look at
Don't
that.
even look back on it. Just put it out there. So,
Yeah, that's kind of what you have to do, isn't it? That's whenever I would post. But see if I watch it or something, and then I'll get those people with like the fake profiles with the
yeah,
goats and all. Like, oh, is that a man or a woman? Or it's like, oh, you're a voice, and I'm like, well, honey, at least I'm not going to be in the same place it was last year.
that's it. And a lot of them people will be the people that just it does like as much as you hear it, it comes from the place of like their own insecurity a lot of the time. And that is
Yeah.
an area that I wanted to talk about because it's seen there a few weeks ago, a few like negative posts to your comment and on your Instagram. And I think a lot of people, especially like I'm saying I don't mean partners, but a younger girl would find that
Mm-hmm.
really, really difficult. Like talk us through that. How
It
do you
is. It definitely is. But this has happened to me for like. Do you know what? See, whenever I started bodybuilding, like as even a bikini girl, and whenever I got lean, I just stopped going and seeing all my family like the last weeks of prep because it was like you're too skinny, you don't look like yourself, your face, you're this, you're that, and I was like I just couldn't cope with it, so I just kind of distanced myself. So I was used to that from the get-go of getting wee things like that, but obviously getting more into it once you start to gain a little bit of muscle, then people are like, now you look like a man, now you sound like a man. And it's all these fake profiles and they'll text you. I don't know if you've ever heard of there's some site people go on and slabber about you if you've more than 10,000 followers.
I'm not there yet.
It's actually I can't believe that this is legal. It is appalling. So you'll go like my cousin Nikita. She's she loves it. She's one of these people, loves the biz, love all this. I don't really. I'm like I like to keep myself to myself. And she'll be like, "Can I tell you what was said about you?" And I'm like, "No, I don't want to know." And it's people on this site, and their names will be like fly on your wall or something. And do you know what the thing is? It's people that know you, which is the scary thing because there's been things said about me that I'm like, that is someone closer to me than what you would think.
Because of what they know about what they're saying and what they know about.
Yeah, yeah. But yeah, like in terms of people saying like I look like a man and because I don't want to look like a man. I am a girl. I do want to be feminine, that was never like I don't want to be a transgender, you know what I mean? Like it's not the plan. Like I like having muscle. Like I feel the most confident I've ever felt in my physique having a bit of muscle and no, it's nasty. And I was always brought up like, if you're not going to make someone feel good about themselves, why say it? I don't know why these people like repeatedly do it. Like, I understand like my voice has changed over the past 2 years, and that's fine. And as I said previously, with everything comes a little bit of sacrifice. You're not just going to get your way to the top with not taking a bit of sacrifice or being a bit selfish, but. Yeah, it's not very nice, but the deal with it.
Certain comments hurt you more than others.
I hate when people call me a man. Like I hate it. Like I hate when people like comment on my voice also. I've been so paranoid at the minute, like so paranoid. Like I'll go through stages when I feel good and I feel okay and I'll post loads and then you'll say it's like, oh she has like 2 stories on today, which is weird for me. So if when someone says something it does knock me. Like there's no like hiding that. It will knock me. And I will talk about it. Like if I see my mum, she'll know that we're going to talk about this probably like 5 more times. It's not over yet, but I feel like I'm getting better. Like I don't cry anymore about
It,
it.
it's interesting to hear, and that's why I want to like sort of because I think it's so easy to portray a level of confidence. When all people
Yeah,
snapshot or maybe see you and think fucking, like she's hardcore, but it's not always the case. And I think, like as you say, people make these comments, and it does come from a place like of
yeah,
insecurity a lot of the time. Like you're out there doing something that's very different, and I think like as bodybuilders, but especially like females with muscle, it's kind of we open ourselves up to it as well by doing it because we
exactly. You post your physique. You gotta welcome some of
yeah.
this. But the way
Critique
I
is
try and
different though than just raw nastiness. That is a
exact.
thing.
it's not nice, but it's like this is a shell. Do you know, it's a shell on your body. Like I have the biggest heart ever. Like I am such an emotional girl, and people think, oh, because you have muscle. Like it's like any man with muscle too. It's like, oh, like bad man. Like
Yeah, no, yeah.
it's what? Like what is going on here?
Well, I find that like with a lot, especially people that are in this industry that are like heavily competitive or good at it, what they're doing, there is a massive level of like introspectiveness with them. There is a level of emotion because the whole
Yeah,
thing is very much driven off mentality, your emotions. So it's like
exactly.
what we see is like this like sort of what armor, whatever the fuck you want to call it. But
Yeah,
anyways, we're all loaded. Well, not everybody. Like some people aren't, but so they're very deep thinking. And I think people just like they don't get it if they're not in it, and it's very easy to pass judgment, make a comment without
yeah.
it's complete ignorance a lot of the time.
For sure, for sure. I couldn't agree more. Like, and it's so common. It's so common, isn't it? Like,
I mean, I again, not to be sort of interviews about you, but like I found
no.
again, I opened myself up to social media more because it was like I want to use this as a platform to help people as well, like to showcase like my journey through it. I talk openly as well about my use of steroids
Yeah,
and well, straight away. Then it's yes, you get some good comments, you affect some people. And there might be 200 likes, loads of people commenting saying, "Oh, made such a difference." It takes one, and if you don't practice, give out that, see the whole day, you're like, "My legs are shit. My legs are
I
shit." You
know, I know.
know?
It's like, yeah, it's like that one comment can just literally destroy you. I was down at Naba not last week, the week before, and and that I said talking to some man, he goes, "Where are you from?" And I went, "Here," and he was like, "Are you not Scottish?" And I was like, "No." I'm not. And then all day, people are like, "Oh, you look really well. You have a great physique." And all I could think is my voice really deep? Like it's making me
My
sound
voice Scottish.
Scottish. Like, what is going on here? But I was like, it takes one comment to just completely fry your whole brain, like, doesn't it?
I
It's
think
crazy.
it's like practicing, getting better at that. Like the more you do it, the more numb you become to it. Like that's
For
like
sure.
again, it's different for. I think it is different for me. I think it is different for male to female. But like I try
Yeah.
and like I try and just be like confident in terms of like practicing my conviction with it, standing behind like what I'm doing. Like it's not
Yeah.
I'm the bear going, I'm fucking this, I'm that. But I think
Yeah.
the more you practice it, the more you open yourself up to it as well, you get better at dealing with it. You know, that's what I
I
was
agree.
you're doing something there that a load of like the majority of people can't do and won't ever do. So we can't really, especially yourself, can't expect them to understand it. But they should like again, there's a level of just being a fucking good human that a lot of people are just missing.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it's all these people that are living for the weekend or they're living for, and I'm like, but what is that? Like what does that mean? Like you're spending all your money, you're going out every weekend, and then you're slagging people off that are actually trying to improve upon their life and
Yeah.
make a better life for them. I'm like, you know,
We
who can say what?
we all make choices as well. Like there's no doubt, which we'll touch on in a wee second, like some of the stuff we do within bodybuilding is not a healthy practice. But with the same
No,
regards, it's there, I think there's an intent behind it, which is largely positive, where shoving
exactly.
a gram of stuff up your nose or drinking till
Isn't
you're or smashing down like burgers every night. Like there's not the same level of like intent of self-worth behind that. Now that's not again, it's a pretty sweeping statement, but it's probably not, you know. And I think,
no,
it's the difference.
100%. Yeah, no, I do agree. It's actually Matt's dad and his friend were actually drinking a bottle of whiskey the other night, so they were sitting getting hammered into like a Chinese and stuff, and we just lived 5 doors away, and we wandered around, and his dad's friend went, "Is that not awful unhealthy, all that?" And Matt went, "What? Like, look at what you're sitting,
Yeah,
doing, eating, drinking, and you're asking me, who's just walked in from the gym to pick our son up to go home and eat some chicken breasts. Is
yeah.
that not healthy?" Obviously, there are unhealthy aspects, and there's no getting away from that. But like, I mean, if you stay on top of your blood work, is it really that?
Well, I think that's it. That you accept some sort of trade off, but there has to be. I think a lot of it is like health management, and I think for me, it's like making people aware that this is a choice. Like with any action that you say, there is absolutely like a trade off. But
Sacrifice?
you
Yeah.
have there's a difference between again having like one glass of wine or taking the bottle of whiskey. A lot of the time, the danger
This
is in the dose. You know, that's what I see with
that's true. Yeah. Yeah.
with yourself, Nari, obviously that you're quite open to talk about that side of things, and I think
Yep.
it'd be interesting to touch on it is like PED use, not necessarily going into
Yep.
doses. I'm sure that'd be allowed on YouTube, to be honest.
Well,
But
I write all my doses on my post. You
Yeah.
know, I try and be as open and honest as possible, and that is what obviously it attracts good and bad
Mm.
attraction, you know. But I do try and be open because I mean, there's no point just sitting saying, "Oh, I don't take anything." It's like, wise up, you
Aye.
know,
I
wise
hate
up.
to do that too because it's like again, it's so unauthentic, isn't it?
Yeah, it's like just be honest, and if you can, and I'm in the mindset now where it's like, in terms of that side, right? When that's completely different, that's not like judging me and how I look and stuff like that. If that's like people being like, "Oh, that's so unhealthy what you do," but that helps one person, then
Mhm.
I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
So me posting my dosages and stuff, I don't mind that, and I will always do that. I am actually in a health phase at the
I
moment,
don't help
which
you.
is it's soft and unfull and horrific, but I mean, we're here.
I get it. I'm like, how long is that health base going to last here? I feel really healthy right now.
Honestly, I
Yeah.
like I do struggle coming off. I always struggle coming off. Like I love it. You feel like superhuman. Do you know, my ma would always say he would think that I'm like a hyper responder, do you know. So I don't take heaps and heaps and heaps of stuff. The max I would do would be 10 milligram of Primo and I would run that daily. And I've went up to 20 milligram of Anavar. That's
Yeah.
most of down there. I've took Winstrol as well, the tail end of prep for like the last 3 weeks. I think that was my last prep, but I don't take the biscuit that said, would I? Yeah. If someone told me to run more, I would. In terms of fat burners, I've always pushed those high. That's my really addictive personality though, like really bad, you know, because there's no real side effects of fat burners in my, like with me obviously there's fertilization that can come from anabolic, so you have to know when is enough to draw the line. But the past 2 years I haven't really took a break, to be honest. Like after having Azure, it's been like on for 8 weeks, off for 4 weeks, on for this, off for this. Prep, oh, prep's extended, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. It's hard to draw that line, I think, when you have the mindset of like wanting to be better. But
Yeah, it's so hard.
I think it's worth like because like the bodybuilding is a challenge and it should be. I think that's why like I love it and personally probably why most people love
Yeah,
it. I think also to adopt the mindset of like the challenge of right, can I come off this? Can I cope with that? Like I think
it's
that's a good
hard.
it's a mindset to get into though, in my opinion, because then it's like you go, right, I can this is just a shell, right? And when you do go back on,
Exactly.
you do everything starts happening again. But being able to
Yeah,
get back and actually be comfortable in that would probably be quite a help, like in my opinion, probably quite a helpful thing because you
definitely.
can and know yourself a little bit. Would you say with yourself there's more exposure to it that than off throughout the majority of is that
So the first time I started running anabolics was after I had Azure. So that would have been like not the first time I was taking them was in not that February, the February before. And from when I started taking them, 100% I have been on more than off. And I will say that, like, for
yeah,
sure, like 1,000,000%, like, I'll admit that. And that is my very addictive personality, you know. And I know that I could possibly not have as deep as a voice as what I do have, if not. But at the end of the day, would I got as much progress? Maybe not, you know. And I understand that the icing on the cake, but if I'm already doing the do, I already have my nutrition nailed, I have
yeah,
my training nailed, I am doing all the rest of it, and I'm not just relying on it to me. So yeah, but I'm off now, and once I come off again, I'm like, okay, I'm off now. I
yeah,
can stay off. You know, like, well, when I say off, I still take growth hormone, so do, and I'm still on thyroid medication, T3 and T4. I've actually just sent away to get my bloods done as well, so it's going to be cool to see what way my testosterone is sitting naturally here, and if it's below my last bloods, then I will supplement in some fem test for sure. Do you know?
yeah. I think a lot of time it is that transition between the two phases, whether that
Yeah.
even for me, like even from off season to diet, never mind on to off. Like this
Yep.
is for me, this has been the easiest time off, but literally because I made myself as busy as absolutely possible, traveling every weekend. So
Right. Okay.
as for me this year, that was like right. The thought process behind it is like right, do the do with the prep side of things, and then just go for at least 6 weeks back to back. Just because then the thought process wasn't right. But now that stage is done for me. It's like right now, time to go again. You know, but I think as you say,
Yes.
the blood work side of things, like it is important. You know, the difference
Mm,
being, like, I question myself is like if I get this blood work back and there's a few things off right now, being totally honest, would I go given the goal now? Would I go? I'll wait I don't know until I get it sorted. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah. I probably will just take more health supplementations and then get blood work done again and just go from there. But I'm the same. But like in terms of you, like, do you like ever want kids or do you worry about that or?
Absolutely now. Like, I mean, you could ask me when I started. Like, so I've started I'm on and off, and obviously the use over the last couple of years has been higher. Absolutely has been. But
Mm.
obviously that my progress is like there's 45 pound of stage weight on in two and a
Do you
half
know
years.
what I mean? Yeah.
Like,
That's like whenever I was bikini, my stage weight was 54 kilo, and then the next one was 63.
yeah,
And then I was coming down there at 5 weeks out and I was sitting at 75. So I would say there's gonna be about 20 kilo on there, you know.
a lot of muscle that we can say it's the icing on the cake, but with bodybuilding, it is a large slice of it as well, and that's just
Yeah,
being open and honest about it as well. Now, that's not to say it doesn't negate the hard work, but there's a reason it would need to work. Otherwise, we wouldn't.
exactly. Yeah.
So in
Yeah.
terms of like the fertility aspect, it's absolutely something, especially the last few years, that I've thought about. Now, there's not like a direct like I want to have kids, but I would like to have the option of doing so. So like
Yeah.
mine has been. I say it's all relative, isn't it? Because a few years ago, what I'm doing now would have been huge. Where now it's like, oh, it's not too much, but it's easy to relativize that, and I'm always very like respectful of that side of things. So yeah, like in terms of that's why I have this like time off now as well, is to test fertility, check where it's at. But
Hmm.
at the minute, like I absolutely love like what I'm doing. It gives me a huge amount of fulfillment. Like there was times
Hmm.
when I wasn't doing it, I was a little bit lost in life in terms of direction. So really, like I wouldn't be massively concerned if I did have kids or not. But
Okay.
I've got a partner that I feel would, so I have to try and obviously take that into account. As,
Yes.
we can't. It can't be. It's not. I'm not making money directly from bodybuilding or make a living from it. I love it, and as you say,
Yeah.
you do it anyway. But at the same time, you have to understand that trade off with it.
For sure, for sure. I personally would like more kids.
Mhm.
So that's always something in the back of my mind too. That's why I'm like, yeah, I'll push the fat burners a little bit more, but in terms of how much I've been on, it's a little bit ridiculous to also say, oh, I actually, because it's obviously worse for females, you know, there's no getting around that, you know. Obviously, your dosages are a lot lower, so probably on the health side of things, it's not that bad, but in terms of your sex hormones and actually getting pregnant and stuff. So, my first prep, bikini, completely natural, but down to low body fat. I didn't have a period for a full year, for one full year after just getting the low
Naturally,
body fat.
I agree. Yeah, yeah.
One full year, I did not have a single cycle, and then I had a little bit of one, and then was pregnant, and haven't,
Massively, massively.
and then I haven't had one
Yeah.
from that.
And the thing
Yeah.
is, obviously, you have a child there as well. That's going to be a
Yes.
regardless. But at the same time, if it's something that's in your mind, I suppose it's something to very much take into account. I think what's been good about this is what I wanted. It's that's why I wanted you on first. Is like to have this open and honest conversation in bodybuilding.
Yeah.
While we want to highlight the massive amount of good things in it, there is things that you need to understand when you do enter that sort of sport, because it is, whether you like it or not, quite a large part of like competitive elite level bodybuilding.
For sure. And then you have to remember there's obviously the people with crazy genetics, right? And then you have to remember like there's people that don't have that and they still get there too. You know, it's
Yeah,
like what is your risk for reward
yeah.
in terms of that? Like obviously you want to be healthy, you want to be as safe as possible, but at the end of the day, I just wish people would be a little bit more honest in what they are doing because especially females, I feel like men are great at the minute. Men have really got out there, like even the likes of like Nathan Styles and all said his stack and it was high and you could tell it was honest, you know. You know, you so you could see like men are coming out and they do kind of say it and it's not really like fun. But if a female's like, oh, I run more than 5 milligram on a bar, it's like
Yeah, yeah.
it's like, no, but like, how can you get to that level of muscularity without, you know, okay, take 10 years, that's great. I'm sorry, I'm not taking 10 years to do that. Like, I would, not that I would get bored. I just, you know what it's like? You're hungry for progress, and
We want it now. We want it now. Essentially, like there
I
is
wanted it yesterday.
part of that process driven as well. And I think honestly, a lot of it is to do with the mindset of it. Like I think as well, like especially with females, it is a lot more closed book as well
Yeah,
because
yeah,
there's more judgment being passed on it in terms of like you
sure.
said, you're like a man, you are a man. When that that's not the case. And it's also easy to put someone's progress down to solely that. And I think that's where people maybe are shy away from talking about it, is because they don't
Probably.
see their success being attributed to one aspect when there's a whole lot of aspects that go into it.
But this is when I don't. It's like don't take what is it? You don't take criticism from someone you wouldn't take advice from. So it's like unless you're in this sport and you understand this sport, then you know that's the only aspect you should care because no matter what, if I tell anyone I take steroids, they're gonna be like, "Oh, that's why you look like that."
Yeah.
Do you know? Whereas if you have a genuine conversation with someone in this sport, they're gonna be like, "What's your cycle? Oh, right, grand, that's
Yeah.
decent or whatever. That's a wee bit higher. Really, is that all you run?" Do you know? It can be like a genuine conversation. Like say like fitness back and like the likes of like Aaron Thompson, like they're really good figure girls coached by Cuba. They done a podcast together and it was like talked a little bit about pre-days, but again, there's no dosage talks, there's no compound talks. It's like if like people up there with their following, if they start to be a little bit more open, but then it's like if you be more open, are people just going to jump on those dosages and start that whenever you've been in this sport for 5 years and you've trialed and erred with a lot, you know?
Although it's just like today's a long form conversation, it's not that long to talk about the whole context behind it. So, you can go around doing this. Like even you say something, what's your diet? How many pounds figures with what do you eat? Well, it's completely different. Like,
Exactly.
I think 5,500 calories will get you so fat where I still have lines in my glutes, like you say. Do you know? So it's
Yeah.
like it's very relative. And I think that's where like it's our job to some degree, to educate, but it's not really. I think people like they'll hear it, I want the quick answer to it, jump on it. Whereas
Hmm.
actually that's where you got to be cautious. But that's why I think you just do what you want to do and what you're
And
comfortable
that's it.
doing. You owe nobody really anything, really. You only owe
Yeah.
it to yourself. That's.
Yeah. And do your own research, educate yourself, ask people questions, that have done it, that will respect you for asking the questions. If anybody messaged me and was like, I need help, I want to start a cycle, or I've run X, Y, and Z, can we talk about it? 100%. I'll
Yeah.
send you my number. If you want to chat about anything, you want to ask me any questions, any side effects I've had, mental, physical, whatever, like, people like it's like a bodybuilder isn't going to judge a fat person going into the gym and training. They're going to say, "I hope you progress well." Do you know what I mean? Like, and it's that same context. Ask a question, get the help, and you will get it. Don't just go first time competitor. I'm just going to start on 20 milligram Anavar and run that my whole prep. Just don't do that. Like, please don't do that.
You've got to invest in your own education. Again, it comes back to ownership. Like, there's a level of investment in it, whether it be time, effort, financially. If you want to become educated,
Exactly.
there's a financial component to doing that. And like
There
you do
is.
online coaching. So like you can ask for all this free advice, but at the same time, it is also your job and you can be nice and nice. But at the same time, you had to invest in coaching. You had to go through that process for a few years. You had to go through the effort involved. So,
Yeah.
I find that as well. It's like,
You
right,
see, this is where you're getting better the barriers than me. I'm
very much
I'm
so. I've
not
got a lot of
I'm
barriers.
not just yeah, you're getting good. I don't know. I'm just not there yet. But I'm getting there.
Got it. Yeah, that was class. I'm wary of it running for too long. I'd love to get like we will get you back on as well because
Yeah.
generally we could probably sit here for 3 hours, but nobody listen to it after
No.
that. Right? So I
Yeah.
want to kind of round it up a little bit in
Okay.
terms of I like to end it with some deep convo, right? So I get you
Right.
thinking well. So I want to kind of know over the next 5 years, what are your goals in these three trifectas of like bodybuilding, business to a degree, and then just personal.
Okay, well, I always want to be the best way possible. Obviously, that's number one, Joe. As you always has to come first. For me, I would like to become pro, and I would like to compete as a. I would like to be a competitive pro athlete. I would love to be a good athlete. I would love my online coaching to just keep going as it is and keep growing and growing and growing. I would like to stay in the lifestyle aspect and obviously have some good competitors would be nice too. Like have some pros as competitors. Like that would be more of a shock than anything to me, but I think what like kind of scares you is the direction that you need to keep going and keep pushing for sure. So um yeah. Is there anything else or
Oh, that's if you're happy, I think that's good. I think like obviously like hearing that I think obviously the pro status will be there. it's just going to be a time and a timing thing for yourself.
It's going to be in the right time. Do you know, it's you know, you don't know. Could it be this year? Like when I start dating, if dating is going, it's never going to be easy. But that's the thing. But if we can do it and the wee man's all good and business is good, then we'll do it. But if it's just not the time, when will it be? Who knows? But
I think I'm almost 100% sure that will come for you. Like, and that's not like,
hopefully,
it's not, I do believe, I think your work ethic and your mentality behind it and where you're currently at 23 years of age, I think it's like, it's going to happen. And then with the coaching side of things, like as well, it's only going to grow as you grow with it and as you set more boundaries. And
yeah.
I think business involved in it
I
is,
love it. I absolutely love it. Like I think online coaching is the best job in the world, but it's one of those things you have to love. Like people are like, "Oh, that's a fantastic job," but it is demanding and it's round the clock.
both emotionally and physically taxing at points, isn't it?
Oh my God, it's so bad. Like one of my showgirls, like that was competing a couple of weeks ago, like had me in tears in the lead up to the show. Like some people can be like,
I'm very emotionally invested with them when you go on that process.
yeah,
You've been there yourself, so you know what it takes as well.
exactly. Yeah, yeah.
Harry, if people
That's
want to
one
find
thing
you,
you have to.
sorry, go ahead.
Sorry.
You go on. Go
No, I
on.
was just saying, like, it's really nice to have been there and know how it feels and take people through that process. Like, I have a lot more respect for a coach that has done it themselves and is coaching competitive clients.
I find it hard to see how somebody that hasn't like walked that walk like can really go and put somebody through that and ask that of them without really understanding like what's involved. From yeah, you can read a book, but until you've experienced it yourself, like it's incredibly difficult to coach that.
I agree, yeah. Yeah, because someone can tell you, eat fish and asparagus 5 times a day. That's fine, but have you done that? Have you done that for long periods of time? Because I've done that for 6 weeks.
It don't, I can't see like even like that's why a lot of my people are first timers because maybe I'm not at a pro level. So like even the mindset of the pressure of that side of things is going to be a very
It's
different
hard.
somebody that's went first time, got lean for the first time, that side of things. So Nadia, if people want to find you, reach out, ask you free questions apparently. where, where can they do that?
On Instagram, Nadia Long. It's a little yellow picture.
Yeah,
Always has
a
been,
blue
always
ticket,
will
huh?
be. No tech,
No
no
tech.
tech,
I don't pay for a
no
tech.
tech for me. Just Nadia Long underslash.
It was great having you on. Genuinely, like I think like it's so much value in it. We'll definitely get back on again. I enjoyed it as well. I think as you said, we could have talked for hours more there. And just
Definitely.
people watching the thing. I know it's the first episode, so it needs to upload correct. There'll be some technical difficulty here, but yes, thank you very much for coming on. So
All
like
right.
going forward, we'll have more guests on. I'm going to trying to have a guest every single week. So please subscribe. What do they say? Like,
Like,
ring the bell,
subscribe.
and get on and watch it. But guys, thank you very much for joining us in this
Brilliant.
one.